Hey, Bruce Neville, your Boomer Consumer. Thanks so much for watching, and I always appreciate your comments down below. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, hit that subscribe button. It means a lot. All right, so a little over a month ago, I published a video talking about how younger generations, a lot of them, not all of them, of course, but some, well, they feel that our beloved hi-fi gear is, for lack of a better term, fodder for the landfill. and that got me to thinking, hi-fi and audio and being an audiophile, there's so many different parts to this thing. Whether you're talking about collecting music, do you do vinyl, do you do analog, what kind of system that you put together, speaker placement, room treatment. There's all kinds of different avenues or areas of being an audiophile to explore. But I've also found that there is far too many people who are more or less what I consider to be audiophile snobs, and they're not that welcoming to people coming into the hobby. Well, here's the thing. The industry depends on new blood coming in order to keep companies making the products that we say we love, whether it's separates or integrateds, high-end speakers, whatever. You have to have a customer base. And it looks to me like, for a large part, the customer base is slowly shrinking. Now, the market is trying to correct for that by making more convenient products and closing that delta in sound quality between the lower end stuff and the higher end stuff. But that's certainly not going to be enough to keep high-end audio manufacturers in business. In fact, it could be the hubris of the well-heeled that eventually kills off their very own market for their products that they claim they love. So I've come up with some ideas to help encourage younger people come into the hobby. And it's time for us audiophiles to take stock of ourselves, what we're communicating to others, and how we interact with others, if we want this hobby to survive. All right. And the first step is to acknowledge that the focus should be on the music and not the gear so much. The gear is fun. Don't get me wrong. It is very much fun. But the music would be the common language between the generations, whether it's classic rock or jazz or indie, or is it metal, what have you. Music should be the common language between our generations. Secondly, we have to learn to respect each other's differences. In other words, maybe I'm all about vinyl and you're all about digital. This argument back and forth is getting nowhere, getting us absolutely nowhere. I tell you what it is doing, is turning prospective people off, watching all this bickering back and forth, which is a better format. You know what? It's the format you enjoy. That's the best format. Nobody else has the right to tell you that their way of doing things is superior to yours. Which brings me to the subject of gear shaming. This is something I see way too much of. That, you've got lowly mid-fi, or, you're not going to get good sound till you spend at least $25K on a DAC. Come on, get real. There's a whole law of diminishing returns on this stuff anyway. I mean, do you really need to spend tens of thousands of dollars on this stuff in order to get good sound? You do not. There is very good sounding equipment out there. Remember the old saying, beauty is in the eye of the beholder? Well, sound and audio is in the ears of the listener. And it's what pleases them is what matters. We don't have the right. I don't have the right to tell you that your equipment's substandard and you have no business being part of this forum or community until you spend X number of dollars. You cannot go to school to be an audiophile. There is no degree that says you're now an audiophile. So, if you want to keep this hobby alive and kicking, you need to make it more inclusive. How do you do that? Well, you educate people about the hobby without being condescending to them, okay? In other words, use language that they understand and be empathetic to people asking simple questions. And maybe you've heard these questions asked thousands of times. Guess what? They're going to be asked thousands more. If you want people to join this hobby, you got to be more compassionate and more understanding that People aren't born with this knowledge. They need to be taught, and they need good teachers. You know, something else, all the audiophile jargon. Oh my God. I still don't get the purpose of all of this stuff, but sound, unlike a painting or describing just about anything, sound is very hard to describe. But there's so much jargon in there that people don't understand. My point being, try to use everyday common language. You know, I once heard that if you can't explain it in a sentence or two, then you don't know the subject well enough yourself. So keep it as simple as possible, but no more. You know, something else we should be doing is celebrating people who does DIY stuff. They make their own speakers. Maybe they wire up their own tube amplifiers. Maybe they put together a good sounding system, relatively expensive. I may be visiting thrift stores or garage sales. Let's celebrate that. Welcome into the audiophile community. We're here to help. What do you need to know? How do we need? How can we help you even make that system sound better? Let's do that. Let's do that. You know why? Because not everybody listens super critically to music. Let's not judge people because, you know, they're not sitting down making detailed notes, and they're not looking at measurements. They're not doing that stuff. Let's just be honest about it. You know, let's just embrace that there are different listening habits. Some people just background music. Some people very, very much into detail. It's a wide spectrum of people. When you start talking about high-end audio, there does come a point of diminishing returns where it can cost thousands and thousands of more dollars just to get a tiny incremental increase in performance. And heck, there is a ton of pure snake oil in this industry. It's ridiculous. I'm not even going to go there. But let's be honest, you don't have to spend a ton of money to get good sound. The last thing, and I think this is also important, and that is, you know, gosh, I got to thinking back when I was young or younger, and I had all this stereo stuff. Everybody had hi-fis or some type of home audio system back in the 70s and early 80s. And I just remember all the parties we used to have and all the get-togethers, and the stereo was always going, and somebody was always putting on a record, or we're playing a cassette or what have you. Music was kind of, well, our social lives were kind of built around that, and I don't see that anymore. I don't believe listening to music and enjoying music was as much fun by yourself as it is getting a group of people together. So, you got a good sounding system, you got younger people out there, introduce it to them, show it to them, have them sit around, play some records, play some, CDs, listen to some streaming, whatever, but have them listen to the system. Make it a community kind of thing as opposed to the lone wolf with his earbuds in his phone. Make it fun and let them see this is a great way to have a good time, right? Let's mix it up. Let's get some people involved. Let's get some tunes going. Let's really listen to the music and enjoy and have a great time. And then slowly, I dig the way that sounds. Or, what is that as a subwoofer? Well, that's cool. I didn't even know those things existed. You get the idea. Well, that's kind of it. So I'm sure that somebody's going to blow me up in the comments. Go ahead. I can take it. But that's my 2 cents. I think it's time to end this hi-fi snobbery and encourage more people into our hobby. And that's it. Bruce Naylor. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.